No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave Manouk, with Ezra Ginsburg. I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to talk about tonight's convincing 4-0 victory by the Winnipeg Jets over the St. Louis Blues. A tidy effort on home ice to wrap up the short 2-game homestand. The team now heads back on the road, having evened their record at 3 wins and 3 losses early in this season. Gentlemen, good to see you both. A very fine effort indeed all around for the Winnipeg Jets tonight.
What's up, boys? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first period, I would say, was pretty even. I think you could flip a coin either way which team was better, right, boys? But definitely the second and third period were all Jets for the most part. And I think, what you like the most, and, Kyle Connor talked about this during I believe it was the second intermission when he was talking to John Liu, right? Like he was saying, like, we really haven't had a full 60-minute effort, even though it's a cliche. It really has been the case. Mm-hmm. Even in the Jets' 2 previous wins before tonight's third victory of the season, you could say that there was at least one kind of mediocre to, below average period, right? So, I mean, you love to see Sam Gagne scoring his 3rd goal of the season, 3 goals in 6 games. I mean, Scheifele, Connor, and Appleton was great, similar to the win on the road in Colorado, right? You said it was a tidy effort. Like, I was telling Dave this as we were watching the third period here, like just a lot of these goals are just, based on hard work, right? Like we'll get into the goals in the Betway game recap, but like, it's not like, I'm not saying these goals were, ugly or anything like that. Cause quite the opposite. There was a few nice goals. But clearly, I mean, the mantra for the Jets tonight was like, go to the net, like get some rebounds, get greasy. Like we haven't been scoring a lot of goals lately. Obviously the game against Toronto was very disappointing. And, we talked about it. I mean, it's too early in the season to start calling these must wins, but you don't want to head out on a 3-game road trip, Dave, having lost 3 games in a row, right? Especially, with the last game being to a division rival. So really impressive game tonight. I think you like what you saw, top to bottom. I mean, you'd obviously like to, have some more goals on the power play, but I think you're going to take a 4-0 victory, every day of the week.
Yeah, and you're going to do it against a team that hasn't lost the game, right? And you're doing it against a team that's in your division that you need to have those types of complete efforts against. And what did we talk about? We talked about the fact that this is going to take a little bit of time to have everybody buying in and playing within that same framework that they've been talking about. And as you and I and Drew talked about it, I mean, it feels like we've already done 40 shows in the last few days, but I don't recall if it was the Saturday show or the Saturday evening show or the Sunday morning show. But regardless, the point is that, one of the things you wanted to see from this Jets club was that full effort, that full complete 60-minute game, because you would see it in flashes, right? And then you'd be like, well, you don't like the 6 minutes at the end of the second period and the first 8 minutes of the third period. That's a big stretch of time. That's a lot of hockey to be, quote, not liking your game. So to be able to play a game like this where, St. Louis comes into this game, they're feeling good about themselves. People are saying, well, you played the backup. First of all, the backup was fantastic. I mean, he was excellent in net. So you're not taking anything away from him because he was actually a big difference maker for the St. Louis Blues, I would argue.
And he's been doing it for 10 years in the NHL, Dave, right? Like with the Sabres, with the Islanders. So if anybody saw Greiss in the net tonight and thought, it was Mr. Civ, I mean, they were wrong. Obviously, Binnington's their number 1 goalie, but I agree with you 100%, Dave. Greiss was really good tonight, even, in a losing effort, letting in 3 goals.
No, absolutely. And so to me, you're looking at that and you're thinking to yourself, there wasn't. You held strong in the first. You were opportunistic. You got the first goal, which I think gave this group kind of that jump that they needed. Obviously, with everything that happened with Rick Bowness today, and for those who didn't see it, he was doing his presser, media availability. He's obviously still dealing with some after effects of COVID, which he had last week, which cost him the first 4 games of the season, and he wasn't able to complete his media availability. And then the Jets tweeted out that he was going to rest up for tonight's game, and that Scott Arniel would be behind the bench. So Scott Arniel, of course, was running the bench tonight for the Jets. But I mean, this is everything that Rick Bowness has talked about with this team is what we saw tonight from this Jets club. And again, it's early in the season, so you're not going to say, well, this is the Jets, and the Leafs game wasn't the Jets. Same team. So you like the effort, especially against, like I said, the Leafs. It's a relatively meaningless game other than, the pride and the memes and all of the national broadcast thing. By the way, amazing how, as an aside, there were maybe 15 stories about the Leafs after, not one about on TSN, not one about the Jets. It was insane. I was like, I'm looking for stuff for the papers, and I'm like Toronto. I'm like, okay, TSN, we get it. So,
well, this is the Leafs year. You know that, Dave.
Yeah,
like, this is the year they're finally going to get out of the first round.
Yeah. So maybe they do, but anyways, the point
and then
is
get swept in the second round.
The point is that it's so much more important for the Jets to play that kind of game against the St. Louis Blues team that's in their division, and that, as you said it to me when we were watching the game. I mean, how well do the Jets seem to match up against the Blues anyways? But you don't know, right, year to year, that how it's going to look. For years, the Jets dominated Minnesota, and then last year, of course, happened, and it was the opposite, right? But this year, if you can keep that sort of mentality and get those clean wins, again, that's one thing we talk about, clean wins against your division rivals, that's huge for this Jets club.
Absolutely. This was a complete effort from the Winnipeg Jets, and it's the first, I'd say, complete effort where they were at least the equivalent or better than their opponent in all 3 periods. And you can say the first period was sort of a toss up between the two teams as to which team was better. One way or another, it was a pretty even first period. And then as the game went on, the Jets improved their play, and the Jets improved their attention to detail, and the Jets stayed within the game plan, which is the game plan that they have to execute in order to be successful. We've talked about that so far this season. They can't start getting those bad habits creeping in. And so what they saw tonight, and this is going to be, this is a shot, a boost in their arm for confidence, undoubtedly. You stay with the game plan, you're ultimately going to get rewarded. Because I can totally understand in that second period, as that second period was unfolding, how, elements of frustration may have seeped into the Jets game, how they were, they obviously got the first goal, and we'll get into the Betway game recap momentarily. But you can see how, they were constantly still trying to get additional goals, and they weren't able to get any for a while there, but they didn't change how they played. They stayed with it. They stayed within how they're expected to play. And as a result, you end up with a 4-0 victory in tonight's contest, where they were the better team. I mean, you look at the, sometimes shots on goal are a misleading stat, where, a team that's trailing often just shoots from everywhere and can pile up some shots. That's not reflective of tonight's game. Shots on goal, 43-25 and 30-12 over the final 40 minutes. And that is the Winnipeg Jets controlling the play, getting contributions up and down the lineup, and just really hemming the St. Louis Blues in their own zone for a lot of the game. There were a number of shifts where the Jets cycled that didn't result in a goal necessarily, but it just, when those shifts add up, when you're playing defense nonstop, and the momentum that it generates for the Jets in this case, it eventually should pay off, and did tonight. Sorry, go ahead, Ezzy.
No, I was just going to quickly say, I think, you like the fact that, you got goals from, various lines. I mean, a lot of people in the chat I see talking about the 5-on-3 at the end. I mean, the game's over at that point, right? Like, it's 3-0. And we mentioned this off the top, right? Like, you didn't score a power play goal again. And the Jets are bottom 5 in the NHL in power plays right now. But I think the season's early enough, 6 games in, that they can rectify this. And how many times did you see guys, missing the net? Like, I can think of, 4 or 5 missed shots on one power play.
Sure.
I think of, Pierre-Luc Dubois missing the net. Remember Nate Schmidt walked in and I thought for sure he was going to score, just ripped it over the net. Like, so, I mean, I don't think it's the structure or, it's not the system. I think the power play, you can tell, is configured properly. And obviously they're going to get a boost with Ehlers coming back, either, we think, later this week on the road trip, either Thursday or Friday, or at the very least, he's going to be back soon. I don't think we expect it to be much longer. So they're going to get a boost. But I do think it's one thing if the power play looks disjointed and discombobulated and everything like that, but I really do think there are signs. I realize you got to produce and you got to put a goal up on the board to really make it stick. But I wouldn't be too concerned about that. At even strength, look at the Blues didn't have a shot on net for 9 minutes straight in the second period. I think they only had 5 shots in the whole first period. And I agree with you, Drew. Sometimes shots are misleading, but in this game, especially the second and third period, it was all Jets. The pace was controlled by the Jets. The possession was controlled by the Jets. And, the Blues compared to the Leafs, where you have to worry about Matthews and Tavares and Marner and Nylander, didn't seem like there were that many guys that the Jets were concerned about. Like, don't get me wrong.
Tarasenko, I thought Tarasenko was the most dangerous St. Louis Blues player in tonight's game. I thought he was most around the net and sort of generating the most of their scoring chances. But even so, you could see sort of early in this game that Connor Hellebuyck looked like he was locked in for a good performance in tonight's game, and which is obviously what you saw with that 4-0 with the 4-0 shutout victory, his first shutout of the year. But sorry, as I interrupted you there, I apologize.
No, it's all good. We can get into the goals, Drew. Like one thing I was thinking, earlier today, before this game started, hours before this game started, is how nice is it going to be that the Jets don't have to deal with David Perron because he was the ultimate Jets killer, right? And he's on the wings now. So I mean, I think just that alone was probably something that the Jets were happy that they don't have to go up against him because he scored a lot of goals in that building. But overall, I mean, there's a few things that you don't like, namely the power play. But for the most part, I mean, I think you'd give a mark of an A probably for that Jets game. It was probably their best game of the year so far.
I would concur with your mark of the A. Let's get into it. The Betway game recap is brought to you by Betway, official sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show and one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. With a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds, what are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. The first period, no blood, 0 goals, 13 shots. I felt it was sort of a bit of a chess match in that first period. Neither team was sticking their head out too far. Both teams were sort of content and just sort of letting the game flow, letting the game come to them. Nobody was, I found, especially eager to take any risks. There were, opportunities, I would say. I don't know that there were any that I recall as 5 alarm saves by either goalie, but both goalies looked solid and made the saves and really didn't allow for a lot of rebounds. I thought Connor Hellebuyck was probably a little bbit more busy in that first period and maybe had a little more action and had to sort of stand up a little bit more, but it was a pretty evenly played first period. I thought possession numbers in that first period favored the Blues 55% to 45% at 5-on-5. They also had 7 high danger chances, according to, 3 high danger chances in that first, 7 for the Jets, but 0-0 after 20 minutes. Your guys' thoughts on sort of the flow to that first period, Dave?
Well, I think your chess match description is an apt one, Drew, because that's kind of what it felt like. It felt not necessarily that neither team wanted to make a mistake, but that they were just kind of like waiting it out and they were patient to play within their framework that the coaches have established for both their systems. And we know how Craig Berube, has been able to guide his team the way he's been able to guide his team. And so you're sitting there and you're not really sure. I mean, St. Louis is coming in. And like I said, I think they were 3-0 coming into tonight's action and coming off of a 2-0 shutout, I believe, of the Edmonton Oilers. So not a huge number of goals, but they're, like I said, they're opportunistic and they've got some talented players. They can still find the back of the net. So neither team really looked like they were going to try and break out of their kind of, like I said, the systems that they've been in, that are being hammered into them since training camp. And I think that's a good sign for a Winnipeg Jets club who you don't want to see. And I think you talked about it earlier, Drew, that idea of not being rewarded. So you start trying to get out of it to try and create something unnaturally. And I think that's where you get into trouble. And I think that's one thing we didn't see this Jets club do, which is critical for them, is to just play the game as it comes to you or as you're dictating it, but don't try and force it. And especially against the St. Louis team that's feeling good about themselves and comes in, having rested and having, like I said, the ability to to make you pay if you make those mistakes. So Connor Hellebuck, again, solid, which is kind of what you've been seeing from him all year long already. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't a tremendous period from a standpoint of like stuff to talk about, because like you said, it's not tremendous amount happening. But I guess if you're looking at it from a observational perspective, which we obviously are doing here, I think one of the things that you would say is a good thing is the idea that the team stayed within the structure or the framework that the coaching staff has tried to instill in them.
The Jets opened the scoring. It also turns out to be the game-winning goal at the 10:30 mark of the second period. Mark Scheifele, somehow he's left all alone to get his 4th of the season. Assist to Josh Morrissey and Mason Appleton, and he's not on the score sheet here. He doesn't get an assist, but this goal doesn't happen if not for the play by Kyle Connor to take a hit and deliver a hit to make the play that results in Appleton getting the puck back to Morrissey before he gets down low to Scheifele, as he.
Yeah, well, it all starts with Scheifele and Ryan O'Reilly, a couple centers, having a battle in the corner to the left of Thomas Greiss, right? And you're right. I mean, Scheifele's left in all in front of the net there, and it's a nice, play by Morrissey, to get the puck to Scheifele there. But you're absolutely right, Drew. Like, Kyle Connor takes the hit from Braden Shen, and basically allows that puck to come to Mason Appleton along the boards, gets it back to Morrissey. This is just a hard-working goal. And, Mason Appleton's got to do that, even though he's not the one that had all the physicality on this goal, but, he's along the boards, getting in there, drawing the defenseman. I think it was Colton Parayko that came out, and that's why Scheifele was left alone there. But yeah, that was just a hard-working goal, nice hands, and really, I think a good rebound game from that top line, because they weren't very good against Toronto, I didn't think.
Yeah, so 1-0 for the Jets after 40 minutes. And again, we've talked about this.
Uno momento por favor.
Yes, sir.
But that was the 35th game-winning goal for Mark Scheifele, which moves him to tie with Blake Wheeler.
There you go. Dave M looking up some of the in-depth stats. Not sure if that's considered an advanced statistic, but whatever it is,
definitely not.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's an interesting fact that you can tell your friends around the water cooler tomorrow at the office when you're talking about tonight's game, as long as you give credit to Dave Minuk, because otherwise you're going to get a lawyer's letter, and nobody wants that from Dave M. It'd be a little dangerous. So 1-0 for the Jets after 40 minutes. They're feeling good about themselves. 9-5 were the shots on goal in the second period, a period, as we talked about, that the Jets controlled the flow of play. It was 50-50 possession-wise, but I still thought the Jets were the better of the two teams in that second period. Third period, this is where things really pick up for the Winnipeg Jets, where they decide that this is a game that they want. This is a win that they want. And they dominated the St. Louis Blues in this third period, as we really touched on so far on this post-game show. Shots in that third period, 21-7. So the Jets absolutely one-sided against the St. Louis Blues, and they get rewarded this at the 10:38 mark of the second period. Sam Gagne, his third. What an off-season acquisition he's been. He's well on his way to being worth the very limited money that the Winnipeg Jets are paying him. His third of the year, assist to Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey. And you could just sort of feel this goal coming, Dave, as the Jets sort of were wearing down the Blues with offensive zone shift after offensive zone shift after offensive zone shift, culminating in this 2-0 goal.
Yeah, and I believe just before this is that shift that the first line took in the Blue zone, where they didn't score, but they dominated them for, it felt like 45 to 55 seconds of just cycle. And it wears the other opposition down, right? And it gave the Jets momentum. The crowd gets into it. And yeah, you're right, Drew. I mean, Sam Gagne is looking like found money, 3 goals in 6 games for the veteran. And he's really brought like kind of a defining presence to the Jets, which is when you lose some of those veteran guys like the Paul Stastnys, and you don't necessarily fill them. I'm not saying Sam Gagne is going to be Paul Stastny, but the 3 goals in 6 games, it's helping a little bit. And it was a no doubter, right? I mean, it was a beautiful shot, and he beats Greiss. And, that at that point you just felt, I'm not thinking you felt the damn break. I mean, of course, shortly thereafter you knew that it was over, but you could kind of feel like the Jets knew we've been playing the right way, and now we're getting rewarded for that play with another goal. And at that point, it really felt like the Jets had taken them over that hockey game.
And if I could just add one more thing on that goal, I think Dave, broke that goal down really well there. I think the Kyle Connor pass to Sam Gagne is obviously really nice, but to me, first off, Josh Morrissey was basically a forward on this play, right up in the play. And he's up against Justin Falk, who's a big man, D to D. And what I love is how Kyle Connor is right around the goal line, and he gives Morrissey makes a really subtle little pass to Connor, who obviously wants to go around the net and get the puck to Gagne. But to me, that is just such a smart little nifty play from Morrissey to Connor in tight there. And then obviously Sam Gagne makes no mistake about it. Also, Scheifele was out there, obviously, and he did some nice work along the boards. I think it was Ivan Barbashev who was all over him, and he got it to more. I just think these are hardworking goals, right? Like, you talk about attention to detail, and it's cliche, hard work, grit, everything like that. And you mentioned earlier, I agree with you. Like, the Jets wanted this one more. This is a Monday night where the Blues are 3-0, so they're on a high. They've played obviously less games than most teams in the league, but the Jets were more desperate. And you kind of have to be desperate even if you're 6 games into the season. You don't want to go on that road trip basically having to win 3 games to get back to 500, right? So I just thought the pass from Morrissey, the work he was doing along the boards with Justin Falk all over him, getting that little pass to Connor, and then Sam Gagne moving in with the beauty one-timer. Just, again, these aren't like, Trevor Zegras lacrosse style goals, you know what I mean? But they're pretty nice goals if you consider, everything that has to take place, leading up to the goal.
Well, you talked about it, and they talked about it in the morning skate. When Rick Bowness briefly addressed the media, he said they needed to get greasy. They needed to get some greasy goals. And, I think the players really took that to heart because there was a ton of net front action in tonight's game. There were other opportunities that ultimately probably didn't show up on the scoreboard and didn't result in a goal, but that the puck was, there were bodies in front of Thomas Greiss, who actually, as you said, and as we talked about, played a pretty good game for the St. Louis Blues, despite giving up the 3 goals and then the empty netter to make it 4. But the Jets went to the dirty areas, they went to the hard places, and they got rewarded in tonight's game by doing so. And then, of course, as you said, shortly after this second goal by Gagne, or the second goal for the Jets, this one by Gagne, the dam started to break. It took 3 minutes and 5 seconds later. Morgan Barron, who had been all around the net really for a lot of the games this season, finally gets his first of the year, assist to Adam Lowry and Neil Pionk. And again, a hardworking goal. Go win a puck battle behind the net, feed it out front, jump on that puck, get it past the goalie. And that's what you saw Adam Lowry really do on this play, as he just going and winning a puck battle behind the net.
Yeah, sorry about that, Drew. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, Morgan Barron, I think, Dave knows this, like, he has to change his style a little bit based on, the role the Jets have asked him to play, right? Like, Morgan Barron's an offensively inclined player, but he's mixing it up a little bit, right? Like, he's focusing on going to the net. He's feeding off of Adam Lowry, who plays that kind of north-south game where he crashes and bangs and just gets the puck on net and tries to get those goals in and around the net. But yeah, I forget if it was Robert Bertuzzo or who the defenseman was behind the net there, but or maybe it was Torrey Krug, I forget. But Adam Lowry just beats him, and I think it was Ryan O'Reilly that Morgan Barron beat to the front of the net. So yeah, that was just again, I hate to use the word, but I mean, the Jets were working hard. Like, these were nice plays, nice passing plays, but also just winning individual efforts and wanting it more. They were more desperate. Like, I agree with a few people in the chat earlier, like, they were saying, well, this wasn't the Blues' best game. Well, I mean, that's because the Jets were all over them, not really letting them, like, you can't really create a lot of offense when you don't have the puck. And the Blues didn't have the puck for, half of that second period and good chunks of the third period, especially when they were killing off penalties. So, yeah, I mean, this is just, again, you don't have to overcomplicate it sometimes. You don't have to complicate it, I guess. Overcomplicate is not a word, but this is just, Lowry winning a battle, Barron going to the net, getting his first of the year.
Well, you talked about that, as just because the other team doesn't play their best, well, that's maybe because you're playing well. It's not like the Jets, don't get some credit for not having the Blues at the top of their game. Maybe the Jets just played a better game than the Blues.
I think the Blues were frustrated, to be honest with you, because again, I'm Mr. Cliche tonight, but it was like the Jets were kind of beating the Blues at their own game.
Well, the what was it? The holding the stick penalty, the Jordan Kyrou penalty. That's just a frustration penalty. That penalty happens. This is, late in the third period with 5.5 minutes to go. The first penalty that ended up being with the 5-on-3 after Shen took the hooking penalty a minute later. But, it's a penalty that happens in the Jets offensive zone. He's just frustrated because the Jets aren't giving him any time and space. So he's trying to, cheat. And, I don't say it, he's trying to cheat in order to gain that time and space. But the Jets were just in the Blues' face all night and didn't really give them much opportunity at all, Dave.
No, and it's interesting because the Blues just tweeted out that Thomas Greiss set a franchise record for the most saves by a Blues goaltender in his debut with the team. So it's pretty good effort from Greiss, and yet, of course, it comes in a losing effort. But
why do the Blues always have the best combination goaltending? They always have a really good backup.
That's
right,
true.
Dave. How many years was Jake Allen one of the best backups in the league?
Because I would say because their starter Jordan Binnington is very hot or cold, so you might need a very good backup in that case.
Yaroslav Halak is the other one I wanted to throw in there.
But
you're right, Drew. Since they won the cup, Binnington has been very hot and cold.
Well, look at Ville Husso last year. Ville Husso got he basically took the starting job from Binnington, but the problem is Binnington's got that big contract, which resulted in Husso going off to Detroit in the offseason.
You're not moving that contract.
Well, and the best part, the little known fact for those who don't pay attention to the AHL is that Husso was actually ahead of Binnington in 2019.
He was
with the San Antonio Rampage, but Husso was injured, so Binnington got recalled. And then Binnington got hot, and the Blues won the Stanley Cup. But it was actually Husso who was seen as the goalie of the future for the St. Louis Blues, not Binnington. But, that's why you play. That's why sometimes you get some lucky breaks.
Billy Husso, not to be confused with the tag team, the Usos.
Thank you for bringing a reference into the wrestling reference in. As I was concerned, we wouldn't reach our wrestling reference quota for tonight's post game show. We say good evening to everybody. This is the Illegal Curve post game show alongside Dave Manouk, alongside Ezra Ginsburg. I'm your host, Drew Mandel. We're breaking down the Winnipeg Jets 4-0 victory over the St. Louis Blues. The Betway, the game recap is brought to you by Betway, the official title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show. If you're new here and you haven't already done so, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast wherever you want to get it, wherever you get your best podcast. We do this, the post-game show, after each and every Jets game, and Saturday mornings, the Illegal Curve hockey show. Don't go anywhere, of course. We still are going to give out some swag before this show is over, give you the secret code word in order to enter the contest for another Jets merchandise package. Lots more to come. The Jets closed off the scoring in tonight's game with an empty net goal. Cole Perfetti, his second of the season. Blake Wheeler, Brendan Dillon getting the assists, and that is all she wrote. A 4-0 victory for the Winnipeg Jets over the St. Louis Blues. The team feels good as they head out back to the West Coast, even though they just sort of, maybe they came not quite from the West Coast, but from Nevada. They came home, and now they're heading back out to California, to Los Angeles on Thursday, to Mullet Arena and the home opener for the Coyotes on Friday, and then again Sunday in Vegas, where they try and make amends for what was the poor performance last week in their first game in Vegas. Don't go anywhere. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. We're live on a Monday night on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
There's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40, you're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. $10:15 Monday night. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. Nice to see so many of you joining us to talk about tonight's Jets 4-0 victory over the St. Louis Blues. A quick rundown of what's in store for the rest of the week. Thursday night, the Jets... I'm going to come to you in a second after the quick rundown, Manouk. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about you. Thursday night after the Jets and the Kings, we're going to be live with the post-game show right around 12:15 a.m. Central Time. So that's technically Friday morning. We're going to do it again the next morning, which is, I guess, technically the game starts Friday night. So that'll be Saturday morning after the Jets and the Coyotes, right around 12:15 a.m. Central Time. I expect you're all going to be here. It's not like if we're here, you better be here as well, because then we're going to do it all again Saturday morning at 9 a.m. So basically, you're just going to have Illegal Curve as a permanent part of your life starting Thursday late night. Stay with us because the late night shows, those get a little bit kooky because I plan to be drinking. I don't know about anyone else, but tip a few back and enjoy some Jets Kings, Jets Coyotes, and the Illegal Curve post game show after both of those games. Dave M., you're calling for the microphone.
I wanted the conch, boys. I wanted the conch because I got to give a shout out to Rollies because I actually used Rollies today. They helped move my parents, and so big shout out to Howard and his crew who actually were physically moving it, and the boys back in the head office, especially Ryland, who was helping coordinate with me, dealing with me. So I can attest, we don't just put these people on because, for no reason. We use their services as well. So big thanks to Rollies who made the move for my parents. So seamless, so easy. And I just want to give them a special thanks for all the help today.
Now the question is, did their grandchildren pack the fine china, and did they do a good job, or are they sort of like, an Ezzy
My parents,
situation?
no, my parents are not a great baby grand piano type of family, so we are not a musically inclined crew. So there were no baby grands that would needed to be packed. Thankfully for the health of Ezzy.
Well, that's not completely true. I've seen Dan Manouk with the triangle.
That's true. Fine.
Ding,
Yeah.
ding.
It's very
Just
good.
like that.
Everyone thinks the triangle is easy. It's not. Timing it's very important and not as easy as it looks. And Dan Manouk knows how to work that triangle.
There you go. Anyways, big thank you to our friends at Rollies for being one of the great sponsors here of the Illegal Curve.
By the way, am I going to get
show.
subpoenaed because I mentioned Dan Manouk on this show? Like, I'm pretty sure that there might be some legal action coming my way based on that.
I just assume that there's going to be a restraining order always filed against you. Every day there's not one.
That's been renewed every year for the last 20 years. I'm
makes
just
sense.
worried about something larger than that.
If you want to join our friends at Rollies and all of our great list of sponsors, just send one of us an email. Maybe you know somebody who's got a company. Maybe you know somebody who's got an ice fishing convention or an ice fishing event coming up, and they want Illegal Curve.
Super pumped up about that.
Live on location and giving some promo for it. Send one of us an email. Dave at illegalcurve.com, Drew at illegalcurve.com, Ezra at illegalcurve.com. We'll be able to help you out and give you all the relevant information. Dave, when are we next going to be live on location?
November 5th. Well, November 5th and 6th, you'll be gearing up for hardwater season at the Red River X Place at the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show. Admission is just $10 for adults. Kids 12 and under are free. They're going to have tons of speakers, and they're going to have gifts and things you can buy. And there's going to be tons of display. All your ice fishing gear is going to be there. And Illegal Curve is going to be there on November 5th. We're going to have some tickets to give away. Probably do that next week for the show. And you can come and meet us. We'll have some stuff to give away as well from our friends at Seagram. So come to the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show November 5th and 6th. You can start to gear up for ice fishing season, which hopefully, no offense to anybody else, will be a little bit longer. I'm going to enjoy these balmy Winnipeg temperatures for a bit longer, unlike our friends out west. And we'll gear up for ice fishing season on November 5th and 6th at the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show at the Red River X Place.
Looking forward to being a part of that. You heard me talk about it earlier in the show about the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. You can see the ticker on the bottom. So you're saying, Drew, how do I enter the Illegal Curve merchandise contest? It's very simple. You go in the show description. So if you're watching on your phone, you might have to X out of the chat, go to the drop-down arrow. You'll see the contest link right there. Click that link. There's a whole list of things you can do in order to enter the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. If you don't want to X out of the chat because you're having too much fun chatting with your friends, and I totally understand that, go to illegalcurve.com. Go to the morning papers. Go to the website. Note number 2, right front row center there, Dave M has got the link where you enter the contest, and as a result, you can win some great merchandise, Winnipeg Jets merchandise. And after tonight's game, so right now that the game is over, there's a unique code you can enter to get bonus entries. So you enter in Show Me, as in Show Me State, the state of Missouri, where the Blues play. Show Me, one word, all caps. Enter that into the contest page where it says unique code. Put it in there. You'll get bonus entries for the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. We give away merch after each and every Winnipeg Jets game here live on the Illegal Curve post-game show. So tonight's contest is just opened up. It'll run until Thursday. That's when it'll close, right before the Jets and the Los Angeles Kings, and then we'll start up a new contest right after that. So the unique code for tonight's game is Show Me, and you can find the link to enter in the show description or on our website, illegalcurve.com. Dave,
unique code, by the way, sorry, Drew, unique code is way better than secret word or whatever it was before.
Yes, I decided to match the wording that is on the contest page to what is on the screen. I thought that would make things a little bit easier. So
it's just better because once you give away the word, it's not a secret word anymore.
But it is a unique word. It's because we only use it once. So there you go.
You're a unique guy, Drew, so it makes sense.
Thank you, Ezzy. I'll take that as a compliment.
And the
winner from the last contest, Dave M., who is the winner of the big Illegal Curve merchandise contest?
And this is complete happenstance, so I want people to know I don't do anything by picking. I just hit a button and it picks for me. But I can tell you, I was happy when I saw the winner because it is Timmy Debenham, who used to be
former IC producer,
our IC producer back in the TSN 1290 days. And so when I saw that, I happened to do it. Sometimes I do it before the show. This time I happen to be doing with Ezzy and Drew just before we got live. And I said, "Oh, Timmy is the winner." So that's exciting. Timmy Debenham. He's a
New father.
I did not know that he was a new father, but that's exciting.
Yes.
That's even better. But anyways, Timmy's a great dude.
Jersey.
He needs a jersey. He's a great guy, and so happy to see Timmy win. And we're happy to have all of our listeners and our readers watch and win great Jets prizes. So, the only way you can win is by entering, and that's what Timmy did. So, Timmy D's in the chat.
Timmy's in the chat. That's the best.
There we go.
Like, I mean, every winner is great, but I mean, Timmy's an absolute beauty.
Wait,
he was our producer for many years, so absolutely love it.
Tracy's calling us out, but Tracy, you've won before. I gave you a legal curve gear, so you can't be saying that it's fixed, because then it means I picked you as a winner, which I may have done.
It is absolutely not fixed. It's audited after each and every draw. We'll be glad to provide the audited results of the contest.
It's audited by Ginsburg, Pollock, Mandel, and Manuk.
In any event, congratulations to Timmy. And of course, you next have an opportunity to win after Thursday's game. Unique code for tonight's game, of course, show me, all capital letters, all one word. Enter that in. Do all the other tasks. Do all the other opportunities to increase the number of ballots you have in the draw, and you too can win the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. Tough Duck hardest hitting comment, Ezzy. Who do you have for tonight?
Yeah, a lot of people. We had hundreds of people. I'm not sure exactly how many, but I was checking before. We had close to 400 people in the chat tonight. Absolutely love it. We're going to give the hardest hitting comment tonight to Jeff Johnson, who is a frequent IC viewer. I think you've got it queued up there, Drew. It was about 20 minutes ago. Best Jets game I've been to in 2 years. A win like this, good character win. All four lines did their job, made Helly's night a bit easier, playing good team defense. And again, like, it goes back to Saturday morning show. We were talking about that, right? Like, we were talking about who really needed to get going offensively. We talked about Kyle Connor. Obviously, he doesn't get a goal tonight, but he had a beautiful assist. Did he have 2 assists tonight? I forget.
Just one.
Just 1 assist on the Sam Gagne goal. So
and
he had a really strong game.
You talk about Dam about to break. You can see Kyle Connor is so close that it's going to happen very quickly.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't score on this upcoming road trip. Like, it's just a matter of time. And like, the thing with Kyle Connor is usually, when he scores, it comes in bunches, right? So he could easily get 2 or 3 against the either LA or Arizona. So Jeff, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, EZRA@illegalcurve.com, or you can slide into my DMs on Twitter. At ICSEG, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you. We've had a lot of winners as of late, because we've had a lot of games, 4 games last week, 4 games this week. But as everybody knows, here in Manitoba, it's getting colder. Not going to be very nice again tomorrow, so you need that toque. So Jeff, good work. You're going to get that Tough Duck toque.
Congratulations to Jeff for winning the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment in tonight's post-game show. Gentlemen, before we wrap it up, there's still some interesting aspects of tonight's game I want to touch on. We talked about it on Saturday, and the idea of the physicality of the Winnipeg Jets against the Maple Leafs, and that's why they dressed Wayne Simmons and Kyle Clifford. I know that hits are a notoriously unreliable stat. They're very subjective. Oftentimes, the benefit of the doubt goes to the home team. With that caveat said, the hits in tonight's game, 39-19 for the Winnipeg Jets, which is obviously more than 2-1 in favor of the Winnipeg Jets. So the Jets, even if the numbers are skewed a little bit, definitely played a physical brand of hockey. And if that's going to be your identity, because for the last few years we've sort of said, what's the Jets' identity? It wasn't something that was clear. It wasn't something that was obvious. If your identity is going to be a physical, hardworking team, that can score in transition, or can keep games sort of tight checking and then be opportunistic when it comes to scoring, that's a pretty good game plan to have. And I wanted to highlight the physicality, particularly that of Brendan Dillon, who led all players and all Winnipeg Jets with 8 hits in tonight's game. And I thought Brendan Dillon played a very good game for the Jets, one of those sort of unsung heroes, but he did get that assist on the empty netter, which I thought was well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a couple of weeks back, we did our over-under segment. And one of the questions was, how many hits is Brendan Dillon going to have? Because he led the team, of course, last year. And Neil Pionk also had 5 tonight, Drew.
Yeah.
I'm not that surprised. You're right. I mean, hits for sure. Like, a guy will get credited with the hit where it doesn't even like he barely touches the guy. So even though it's unreliable, it's not that unreliable that, you know, it's plus 20 more hits for the Jets tonight, right? So yeah, Dylan was great. I remember a hit that he had on Alexei Toropchenko, who's I believe 6'5", and you know Brendan Dillon's not much shorter than him, but Toropchenko flew back pretty well. And yeah, 8 hits. I didn't know that he had that many hits. I definitely would have, you know, guessed maybe 4 or 5. But you know they need that, and you're right. I mean, oftentimes, you know, last year the Jets played different based on who their opponent was, right?
Right.
And I think this does provide a template for the Jets, right? Like obviously they're not going to be able to shut out every team they play against, especially when you're going up against, you know, the Colorados or the Torontos or the Tampa Bays, the top teams in the league. But you got to like, you know, this type of effort. And, you know, some of these games are going to be a little bit sloppy, right? Like we talked about, you know, the back-to-back games, like the game against the Coyotes, I can guarantee you it's not going to be a pretty game just because the Coyotes are so bad. And even though we'll, you know, mock the Mullet Arena and the 1,400 fans or whatever they're going to have at that game, most likely they're going to be all, you know, snowbirds from Manitoba and other places in Canada. But yeah, I really like the style that they played tonight. And I like the fact that, you know, with the exception of maybe, you know, 5 to 10 minutes there in the first period, I think for the most part, they controlled the play. So yeah, I love the physicality, Drew, and Brendan Dillon brings it almost every night.
Absolutely. One other thing I wanted to highlight or make mention of in particular, you know, I myself have been critical about Logan Stanley. I thought he played a very solid game for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Not really noticeable, which is, I think, what you sort of want Logan Stanley to be, similar to what Dylan Sandberg was in that one game that he got in the lineup before he got banged up. And Logan Stanley actually led all Winnipeg Jets players in Corsi percentage, 72.7%, leading all Winnipeg Jets players. He kept it simple.
Just as we all predicted.
Yeah, exactly. Just as we all predicted. That's exactly right, Ezzy. He kept it simple. I believe he also had a good number of body checks with 4 hits in tonight's game, Dave. So Logan Stanley, that's how you want to see him. If you're the Winnipeg Jets and you're the Winnipeg Jets brain trust, you want to see him playing a simple game, a game where there's minimal panic in his game and just keeping things nice and easy to maybe continue to build up that confidence that I think has been at a pretty low level for him.
Yeah, I mean, he has to embrace what he was able to do tonight and keep it going. And if he can, then yeah, good for Logan Stanley, and that's going to be a good thing for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, exactly right. So Logan Stanley, very effective for the Winnipeg Jets in tonight's contest. Really an all-round effort for the Jets. If you look at it, you know, all the forward lines, all positive possession. You know, there's just a lot to take away from tonight's game that they're going to like. They're going to look at the video of tonight's game and say, this is what we want to look like most nights, and this is how we're going to succeed when we play our game in this way. So a victory for the Winnipeg Jets to even their record at 3 wins and 3 losses on the season. Speaking of 3 wins, Dave Manouk, there's one other team in Manitoba who had a 3-win weekend. That is, of course, your Manitoba Moose.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Manouk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
That's a good point, Drew. The Moose were in action yesterday in Rockford after winning in Chicago on Friday, then winning in Milwaukee on Saturday. They were looking to do the three-peat in Rockford against the Ice Hogs, who they already played twice to kick off the season. And, of course, they got started off a little slow, and the Ice Hogs actually opened the scoring. But sure enough, who else got the goal to even the game was none other than Jansen Harkins. 4 goals in 4 games for him. Nice. He finished off a nice play by Ville Heinola and Brad Lambert, who did a little zone entry, looked a little Nikolai Ehlers-esque with his zone entry. And then the Moose were dominant in the second period. Jeff Malott, he scored a nice tip-in goal to make it a 2-1 game. Henry Nikkanen, nice work by Christian Reichel in the corners to dig the puck out. Daniel Torgerson, the 2020 second rounder, he went at the front of the net. And then Nikkanen, the 2019 fourth rounder, deposited to make it 3-1. Then Declan Chisholm scored a beautiful goal under the bar, good screen in front to make it 4-1. And then finished off by Kevin Stenlund. He had a nice, Mikey Esimon on the power play, fired a shot. Stenlund knocked it down, deposited behind the netminder, 5-1 for the Moose in Rockford. They cruised. Mikey Esimon scored one more. He got a loose puck that was, he finished off, make it 6-3, but an impressive. I mean, I was talking with some of the Moose people after the game, and I said, like, I don't remember the Moose winning a 3-3 the way they did, and it was dominant. I mean, they outscored their opponents 16-7, I think. No, yeah, 16-7, and
it's on the road though, Dave. That's what I mean. That's
like
what's
3
the
different
most
cities.
impressive about it against the rivals.
Yeah,
right. Like
yeah.
it's and you talk all about home ice advantage not meaning a lot, or it's not. They play the same way. That's BS. I mean, it is different. There is a disadvantage, not just last change, right? So I think that's what's most impressive.
Yeah.
In the goal differentials, that you did that 3 days in a row on the road.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it's because they had Genghis Ken in the who wears IC gear, but where's
in the chat. Yeah,
but he was in attendance for both the game in
He's
Chicago.
chatting with Arvid Holm.
There you go. He was. That's right. As he in both Chicago and in Rockford. So maybe that gave the Moose a little inspiration. According to someone that the Moose was telling me that there were actually quite a few people wearing Moose gear. So good for them and good for the Moose because they look really good right now, given the way they're. I mean, it's very early in the season. They've got a couple of games against the Iowa Wild this Saturday and Sunday here back in Winnipeg. 2 p.m. starts. We've got tickets to give away, so we'll give those away. I feel like we got 8 more shows to do before that, so I'm sure we'll give it away maybe Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday. But regardless,
Thursday or
Friday. Oh, you had it right, Dave. Thursday or Friday.
Thursday, Friday.
I mean, it's not really going to matter because we're going to be so sleep deprived that we're not going to remember doing these shows. But it's all good.
It's technically Friday morning and Saturday morning.
Sorry, Friday, Saturday morning, and then Saturday morning show, and then a Sunday.
It's happy hour somewhere, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, the Moose are a lot of fun. They're rolling along. Arvid Holm, he's feeling good about his game. Salmon is feeling good about his game. So
is Jared Moe feeling good about his game though, Dave?
Ooh, Jared Moe, the Jets prospect who's playing for the University of Wisconsin. He swept the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, Dylan Sandberg's old team, and I think Neil Pionk's old team actually as well. So he won both his games for Wisconsin. The Jets, what was he as? Was he a 2019 6-rounder, I think?
That sounds right.
Sounds about right, maybe?
My dad actually taught 1 year at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Really?
Where he was getting his PhD or something like that, but he lived in Wisconsin for 1 year.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wisconsin Dells, lovely place to visit in the summer if you're taking
it's
a family
amazing.
road trip.
Actually, Wisconsin in the fall is one of the most unbelievable states to visit. It's fantastic.
Dave or Drew, I won't be going anywhere for at least 5 years because all of my money is now in the foundation of my house. So farthest I'll be going is probably Lactabani.
It's true. Ezzy's got some foundation problems, folks. So if we're starting a GoFundMe, it's a GoFundMe for Ezzy's foundation.
Drew's joking, by the way. Do not start a GoFundMe. If anything, start a GoFundMe for my 7-Eleven runs, but not for my foundation.
Here, I want to end the broadcast with a quote from Mark Scheifele on tonight's game and what clicked for his line. This is courtesy of our buddy Scott Billick. Quote, this is Scheifele. Honestly, we just made simple plays, didn't try to do too much, got the puck behind them, made them turn all night. It's tough when you play against that. You hate when other teams make you turn and make you go back to your own end the whole time. So we just tried to keep it simple through the neutral zone, get it in deep and wear them down. As the game went on, we got more and more, and that was a good game by our line. That's Mark Scheifele summing up their line's performance in tonight's 4-0 victory for the Winnipeg Jets. A quality effort, a quality victory, might say dominant victory over their Central Divide. I
think it was.
To even their record at 3 wins apiece, heading out on the road for the next 3. Thursday night in Los Angeles. Technically, post-game show will be Friday morning. Then, of course, Friday night in Arizona. Technically, post-game show will be Saturday morning. And the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, Saturday morning, 9 a.m., no matter how late we go to bed the night before.
Drew, you better start practicing Crypto.com Arena.
Crypto.com Arena? What, is that the arena in Los Angeles now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I
mean, these arena names couldn't be any worse.
It's true.
Mullet Arena, like you can't make this stuff up. Like I don't even know what Mullet is. Is that an insurance company? Is it a bank? Like I have no idea. It's just
it doesn't matter. It's yet another case of amateur hour in the desert, and the
exactly.
Jets will obviously have to
Well, they'll get used to their surroundings. It's the Coyotes home opener also. Coyotes haven't played at home
Right.
yet, so when the Jets play them on
Yeah.
Friday, it's the home opener in Mullet Arena, so the Jets will obviously want to rain on the parade of the 5,000 that can jam the arena on the campus of Arizona State University. Big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Our friends at Betway, they're the title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, The Keg support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. A big thanks to all of you for joining us on tonight's post-game show. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us some comments. We always love the back and forth and the give and take that takes place on the videos after the show ends. Be sure to keep doing that. Of course, if you want to enter the Illegal Curve merchandise contest, click the link in the description of the show. It's also available in the note 2 of the morning papers on illegalcurve.com. Tonight's unique code word of the day, show me. All caps, one word, show me. That'll win you extra entries into the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. We'll be back Thursday night, Friday morning to be exact, right around 12:15 or so. So join us then for the Illegal Curve post-game show. In the meantime, for Dave Manook, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Friday morning, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.